Welcome to Informe, a social media conversation for January 30th, 2014. It's almost February, and I just realized it's Facebook's birthday in February.
I know it.
And so we're going to talk about Facebook.
And Facebook.
And a little more Facebook,
Yeah.
because that's really what we talk about. We end up talking a little bit about the big game that's happening up on February 2nd that we're all talking Go Broncos. And make sure you can keep following us at salcha.com. This is Informe, a social media conversation. Keep watching. And welcome to Informe. God, you know what? We always talk about the weather at the beginning. Let's not talk about the weather. Let's talk about what it's going to be like in June.
Yes. It's going to be 95 degrees.
Oh, you're going to be on the
slight
golf course.
breeze. I'm going to be hitting golf balls all day long.
I'm going to be on the bike trails. I can't wait to be until the bike trails are open. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I've been told that it would be really respectable to get fired for playing too much golf.
I think so.
So I don't know.
We'll see what happens. So this show will be going on for a while until Dustin no longer can do it because he's playing golf. Or we figure out a way to do this at the golf course.
Yeah,
We've been trying to figure out ways to do this remotely and have some fun recording this other places. And we had the equipment to do it. We just, like we talked about it last week, we just didn't pull the trigger because it's like, oh, that's a lot of work for you guys. We might get there. Well, let's talk social media news. Let's start with what's really the big dog this week.
Sure.
And it's kind of flipping what it's in here. But
Yeah.
Facebook, yesterday, record earnings.
Yeah.
Jumping up to a record start in their stock price. And why are they making the money? What's the
It's all mobile. It's all mobile. I mean, it's all mobile. Isn't that what everything's going
it's
to?
all little admission. I'm on a social media show. I don't have the Facebook app on my phone because it drove me nuts. And it's for me. Someday, if I have a couple years of my life to go back and resort my Facebook friends, I need to create groups. The feed is just useless to me anymore.
Yeah.
I've liked too many things, and it's too many things I need to shut up. And people on Facebook, I just need to. Now I love this new Facebook feature, and I don't see, at least to me, this is new. I can stay signed in as Salcha, and I don't have to keep re-signing in as Salcha. I was always able to go in because you had made me a manager of the Salcha page because you created it and then allowed me to be a manager. But now every time I sign into Facebook, I'm just seeing Salcha's feed and not seeing my personal feed, which is a lot nicer because
I
want you guys
switched back
more.
to your personal.
No.
Yeah.
But Facebook's making a ton of money. People are on the mobile. I still can look at it. Like I have an app called Contacts Plus that integrates all my contacts and their Facebook feed, and I've allowed that to be. So when I pull up a contact and I'm calling someone, I can see what their most recent Facebook post was.
That's a cool feature.
Yeah, that is, I have that on my phone. I have the Facebook Messenger app because we have one client here in the office that for some reason always likes to contact me through Facebook Messenger. Yeah. So in order to be prompt on that, I keep that on there. I don't have the Facebook app.
No.
Now,
the Facebook
a lot
app
of people
is
do.
Very, very intuitive, seamless, very well laid out.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good app, and they're realizing that mobile's where it's at because they said, look, we're going to be making more standalone Facebook apps like they've done the Facebook Messenger. And so yesterday, Zuckerberg's, talking about how much money they make, their stock price shoots up, mobile advertising, contextualized mobile advertising is where it's at. We're going to be doing some new apps. And this morning, Mashable article, Facebook announces new reader app, Paper.
Yeah, you are really big into reader apps.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten as big into it. I've got Flipboard, which is kind of
it's a reader app,
same
yeah.
line.
Oh, and this is directly going at Flipboard,
totally.
I think, by looking at what they're saying it is.
Yeah, so makes sense. It's mobile, right?
Yeah.
People want to get the latest news of what's going on, and I'm curious how they're going to tie it into your Facebook news feed.
Yeah.
If you're going to have your stories that come up and then your biggest stories of the day, the trends that they have that they've started on Facebook now, is that going to come up in your reader? I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to go out and try to get it right away.
Yeah. So Flipboard for sure has already integrated Facebook because that's another way I can see Facebook onto if I am having convulsions because I haven't seen my Facebook newsfeed long enough, I can go through a curated version of because I've connected my Flipboard to Facebook. And I love newsreaders. I love Circa. I'm interested in Inside, which was launched this week by Jason Calacanis in the last week, who has done things like Mahalo and Weblogs Inc. and things like that. He's been very successful. I think, I don't know, as for small businesses, all these people are going about curating content and at the same time, and we'll talk about this story later, it's becoming harder and harder, like we always say, to get your content in front of people through social media because the monetization for this, the plan for all the monetization is making you pay to get your content in front of your viewers.
Absolutely.
And it's no longer as free of a platform that social media was. And if you didn't jump in and build your audience 5 years ago or 7 years ago when Twitter, Facebook, others, Facebook, by the way, I just thought of this.
Don't make curveball.
I think February 4th, this is their 10th anniversary coming up. Facebook has matured for 10 years. When it launched, I'm throwing us a curveball. We're going to make this a Facebook show.
Yeah.
Because I hate Facebook. That makes total sense. No, I don't hate it's not something, I don't personally use it, but for businesses, it has to be used.
Totally.
And I've read the Facebook Effect. I've read tons of books on Facebook. And saw The Social Network.
Yeah.
Followed, stalked Mark Zuckerberg, and have followed his stories. And I'm very interested in all the different people and the players into that. Where is Facebook today? I mean, they announced, record earnings. They went IPO 2 years ago, approximately. I think it's 2 years this May, whatever. Mm-hmm. I can't remember exactly when it came out. Record earnings, they're through the roof. Mobile. Yeah. They don't seem to have any hindrances. People are yet at the same time saying, oh, 80%. Last week we covered the story. 80% of them are going to be gone because this virus effect and all that.
Right.
Where's Facebook? 10 years now. It's 10 years old.
Facebook, in my mind, they have become your one place to go. Your one, when you log in or when you get on the internet, they've gotten to the point where the first thing when your hands hit that keyboard, at least for me, for a long time, has been FACEBO, okay, enter. And it auto-populates and autofill is the first place I go to see what's going on with my friends and with my family. They have done a great job of being your one hub, your central point for everything, and they found a way to monetize it now. I mean, before, a long time ago when Facebook first came out, 10 years ago, I don't even know if I was going to be able to get a Facebook. I was 14 years old, and there's like the cool thing, and maybe some of my older friends in high school were getting Facebooks, and it was like this big deal, but right then it was just colleges, right? You had to have a college.
Well, when it's launched, originally it was just Harvard.
Right.
Then if you've read the book, and I can't remember exactly, but then it went to several other Ivy Leagues and several other regional, and then the guys decided to flip over to San Francisco, and they get these ideas, and all the stories, and watch a Social Network. Yeah. It's an interesting movie, but read the books, The Facebook Effect. There are a couple of really good books out there about all the stories behind the early days of Facebook. But they built, because I remember I was. In 2004, I would have been 27 when it launched, and so I didn't even have a chance. But I remember hearing about it.
Yeah.
And like, what is Facebook? And I was a MySpace user, and but I always was annoyed by MySpace. And as I was, when I went to broadband, I was like, it's no better. I'd been on dial-up, and MySpace just had all these pictures, and they didn't load.
Yeah.
And you'd switch browsers, and I'd be like, MySpace just stinks. And
I heard about it killed MySpace.
Yeah, and I was hearing about this Facebook thing, and for sure. When the day I saw, I don't know if it was the day it was available, the day they went general, I was watching, I know it was through Leo Laporte, who was a big tech follower. I heard through him, I don't remember what one of his shows or something like that, and he said Facebook's available for everyone. And I didn't have a .edu address, and that was the day, and I got it the first day I heard about it, and have had that account ever since.
Yep.
So obviously Facebook is evolving. They're trying to make money. They're trying to figure out, people are starting, students aren't liking it as much. Here's what I think: they do evolve, and they do change, and they change fairly quickly for a business that scales at the scale they're scaling.
Sure.
They are plowing new waters. There is no one that has that many users, that many servers, other than maybe Google.
Right.
And Google's core competency is just that search.
Right.
And they build all these moonshot things all over. So they have Facebook has these users that are using their platform actively every day, and it's not a simple platform.
No.
And so any changes they make in order to increase their revenue and increase it ticks at a certain portion of them off, and they're at that they've done 10 years, and they're really continuing to grow, and there is a ceiling eventually, even though because I love and now I'm going to be a Facebook apologist, but I love what they've done. There are certain things like Mark Zuckerberg coming out and saying, we're going to work to make sure everybody has internet access. Well, it's a great thing, because I believe it should ultimately be a utility and everyone should have it. It's what connects the world. But also, it's great for his business, because he realizes the greater interconnectivity everyone has through this thing called the internet, the more chances they're going to be on Facebook, and the more chances he has to see what they're saying and contextualize ads directly to them, and hopefully not be selling it to the NSA. Yeah, Facebook is, it's the number one thing.
Yeah.
What do we say when we get, do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a Twitter page? I'm working
Yeah.
with a client here in town, putting a proposal together for them. We are working with them. They've been around since the 50s. They have a web presence, but one of the things they didn't do, and they're a home services company. They're selling things for homes, and they have a fairly common name, at least a name that's out there. And they never claimed any of their social media names. And so now we're saying they want to open a retail space here in town that they've not been doing before, because they've been manufacturing and now they're looking to get into some direct retail of some of their things.
Yeah.
And I'm having to come up with new ways for them to think about, because they can't own it. They can't own Twitter.com, that name, Facebook.com, that name, because everyone jumped on it early.
Yeah.
And so now, where do we start? We come up with a new branding point for them. We come up with a new URL, and we make sure that URL is available on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on YouTube, any of the feature, in Google, make sure in Google Plus, that's the name we can get, so that we can make it consistent across the board in a whole rebranding package. And that's how important Facebook is. And Facebook's been driving that for 10 years, because MySpace never grabbed that. MySpace became this, we're going to they never made it possible for businesses to feel like, other than musicians, to feel like they could use and harness that brand. Facebook, you have your Facebook page, you have your analytics. They have served us as business owners, leaders, marketers, much better than many other platforms have. Google, and not bashing other, Twitter, Google, others do that. But Facebook has led the way, really, to begin with.
And if Facebook wouldn't have done it, those other sites wouldn't have even considered it. Everything would have been MySpace all over again.
Yeah.
So I'm completely in agreement with you. I think Facebook is really just, like you said, evolved into obviously a leader in the realm of internet development and internet news and just kind of all those things. And I think it's really cool they've kind of stuck to that core belief of, we're here to help you connect to things that you actually care about.
Yeah.
While they make it harder for businesses to get their ads out there in front of people and their posts out there in front of their market, if that particular person who doesn't receive your ad hasn't interacted with your page in your last 50, Facebook's saying, well, that's not that important to that person.
Yeah.
We're going to be what's most important to that person, the last 50 people and pages that they've interacted with. So I think it's really cool that you can still connect with your family who lives across the country. You can still connect with your friends who moved away after college. You can still connect with any page and brand that you're actually really invested in, that you really care about, all gets served to you. And I think it's really cool that they do that. Their algorithm, like I said, is frustrating for brands sometimes, but it's really cool that they have kept that core competency of, we are about connecting you to what you care about. Even through this growing and this IPO and serving us ads, even the ads are something that I care about. I see golf clubs all the time.
Yeah.
Like, sweet, awesome, I don't mind that. I think that's the coolest thing about it. They haven't turned into this corporate, let's just make money and just plow everybody over and not care about anything, not really care about our customers that much. They're all about making the experience good for us, and I love that about Facebook.
And they've had this hacker mentality that we're going to be not just a site people go to, but a platform that people experience the internet. And that's been a really strong platform for them. And that's that Facebook Connect, where you sign in everywhere where you go. And that just collects more signals for them to collect information. And sometimes it does get a little creepy, what they know, and they certainly have made some missteps in their security and made some missteps mostly in their privacy areas. And you really have to trust them if you're going to give them any personal information. But wow, as a brand, you need to be on Facebook. You need to be figuring out how to do it. You need to be doing A/B testing. And in an article that we'll post here, that we said, because we say this all the time, but we like it when other people confirm how bright we are. This is no longer a free platform for people. You need to allocate some money to being on Facebook and spending money to get some services there, whether it's promoting your posts, promoting your page, promoting your events, whatever you're doing, what it works for there. There's going to be a little bit of cost to that now, and that's fine. They've built enough of a platform that there are 1.6, 2 billion, 3 billion as it keeps growing. Whatever their peak and level is, people are interacting, and as they also grow bigger by growing smaller, by having things like Facebook Messenger, Facebook Pages. But by the way, Pages, I like that you're launching a thing. Get it on Android. Not all of us are on your, iOS devices. I can't believe Facebook, of all things, are willing to go out there. This is not Instagram of 2008. This is Facebook. Yeah, as we talk Facebook, I don't want to go. Let's get practical.
Sure.
And so I like throwing curveballs at Dustin. He knows that. We're going to come up with our top 6, 3 each tips for
boy.
Facebook to be as practical as we possibly can. And I know some of yours that you always harp on, so I'll let you go first, so, so I don't steal your.
You know what?
first
I
one.
might throw you a curveball.
Okay, let's see it. Top 6. So we're going to 3
Top
each.
6.
Is that fair?
I'm going to take 3. All right,
All
cool.
right.
Well, man, put me on the spot. All right, top 3. Number 1, be there. Don't miss out. If you're not there, you're missing out on a potential of 1.6 billion people. Now, granted, you're not going to reach all those people, but if you're not there, you're only falling behind. So stay on it. Number 2, make sure it looks good. Make sure that
That's why I thought it was going to be the first one, because I was going to steal that. Make sure you're visual and the graphics are there.
Yeah, make sure you're visual. I want you to have a quality cover photo that's really stunning visually when someone does click to your page, and when they're not on your page and they see your profile image, get their attention with your logo or with something that represents your business. We had one that we did last week on the Right Touch Bakery. It wasn't their logo, but it was a pink VW Beetle with their logo on it.
Be creative.
Yeah.
Make visually who you are, represent it, but be creative.
Absolutely.
Think outside the box. And if you're not a creative person, find someone who is.
Right.
You know someone
Yeah,
who's creative.
somebody can help you. And if not, tweet at me and I'll see if I can help you, at Dustin Hickle. Third one, for me, it's the quality of the posts and getting interaction. It's don't post things that are just broadcast. I don't want you to, hey, we're doing this, hey, we're doing that. And it's all about your product, and nothing is actually good for the customer. What you post has to be good for the customer. Give something away. Give a discount. Ask them to answer a question. Ask them to comment on a photo. Ask them to like a photo. Just drive interaction, because social media is inherently social. It's in the name for a reason. So if you're not being social, if you're just broadcasting, you're a billboard, and nobody really reads those when they go down the highway, right? So what you want to be able to do is to drive conversation. That's what it's about. Those are my 3.
All right. So now I've got to go 3 because I came up with this on the fly. I'm going to start number 1. Use Facebook as your brand. So you can go over there in the right hand, you can say, I want to use it as Salcha, and that's what I do. And I'm saying I like that I can just stay signed in as Salcha now. And that way I don't get buried down in other people. And interact as a person, as your brand. And help that. Make sure that you see that. You're interacting, you're commenting, and you're liking pages that are relevant to you. You're creating community, and that is you're creating identity to who you are. And don't just see Facebook as a billboard, like you said, but use it as a person. And those tie together in kind of tips. Number 2, I think, is don't use it as a vomit fest for other places. And what I mean that is, don't make everything come to Facebook. So, everything you post goes to Facebook, and so you go to your timeline, you have 100 posts a day. And don't make everything you post on Facebook go to Twitter and Pinterest and everywhere else. Use each of these social media platforms as its own. And what's happened, I think, with Facebook is everybody uses Facebook, so they're like, well, I'm going to put everything on Facebook. Well, there are become strategic on how you use it, and don't become the person that's going to use so many, different platforms that come back to Facebook, because you can do that. Number 3, make sure you use the mobile and start thinking about mobile.
Totally.
They're thinking about mobile. They're making the most money through mobile. Let's figure out how they're going to be making their money. They're going to be using their creativity of how mobile works. They're going to be creating the Pages app. We'll look at that, or not the Pages app, the Paper app, but they already have the Pages, or the Pages app. They have a Messenger app. They have these standalone apps that you can interact with on your site. Realize that mobile is where things are going, and you guys can take mobile and think, how can we use Facebook so it's in their hands? Maybe that's buying mobile ads, because you can now target and say, I want all these to be contextualized to when people are in this area, and these ads are say these things. There's all kinds of ways you can target directly to where people are at, and especially in retail. So those are my 3 things right off the bat. There are lots more of tips, but we were just throwing. You've got to make sure that you are really connected to Facebook and using it strategically. And even if you don't keep it up, you've got to have a Facebook page. And that's what this local company I mentioned earlier, what was so frustrating is they've been here since the 50s and been doing and somebody didn't think we at least have to have it. They don't even have a Google Plus page, and they don't have and there's just like, that's frustrating.
How did you miss that?
You just have to do it. You just have to do it. And if you're a startup and you're an entrepreneur and you're starting new things, that's one of the first things you think about is, how do I get Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Pinterest? Get them all. And if they come out, you never use them, at least you have your page, and get a good profile page and a cover image and whatever they use on the different platforms. Those are the things everyone should be doing.
Absolutely. And if you haven't gone out and done this yet, if you're watching the show and you're like, man, maybe I need to go get my Google Plus page, my Pinterest page, go and get it now. I mean, don't wait. Go and get it and try to find, your URL. Make sure you can claim your username. And if you can't, you're going to have to get creative. Like Nate said, come up with a campaign that drives people to your page of some sort, anything. You've got to be there. If you're not there, you're falling behind. That's just all there is to it. So go and get it now. Seriously. Go on.
Yeah. So all that was happy birthday, Facebook. I will confirm that by our next show, but I'm pretty sure I remember February 4th. But we know we're 2 days from February. It's the 30th.
Yeah.
Facebook, 10 years.
10
Let's
years.
hope for 10 years more. Let's hope they continue creatively. Let's hope they keep pushing the button. That they're, I think they have driven so much. How many people are connected to them, and Google too.
Yep.
There's so many. It's not a vacuum. They're all kind of interconnected. But Facebook has definitely pushed social media.
Absolutely.
And Twitter. When there's competition, there's better product, and we love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's end our show. There are other stories this week, but we kind of focused on Facebook, and we really weren't planning on that until it popped into my head that they're 10 years old here in 2 days. But it's a big game this week.
Yeah.
Are we even allowed to say Super Bowl? Well, we're going to say it because
gonna say it.
we're not advertising through it. A lot of times you have to say it's the big game if you use any advertising for it. We're just simply commentary. Make sure you know that. YouTube, Facebook, anyone who's monitoring us, we're just commentating on this. But Super Bowl ads in the second screen. This infographic we found on Pinterest.
By the way, I'm going Denver Broncos all the way. Huge Peyton Manning fan.
Yeah.
I thought I was the hugest Colts fan ever, and then the whole Peyton Manning thing changed, and he went to Denver, and I realized I'm probably the hugest Peyton Manning fan ever. And I still love the Colts, and when Peyton Manning retires, I'll be a heavy Colts fan again. But for the time being, Peyton Manning all the way.
Yeah, I'm definitely cheering for Peyton Manning. I'm cheering for a great game.
Yeah, that's true.
I would love it if it would be 30 below and snowing, because I just think the storylines of what's happening in New York are hilarious. But it looks like it's going to be in the middle 30s, maybe about as good as you can get in New York. Yeah. Not as good as Indianapolis a few years ago when they hosted the Super Bowl. They hit the gland, and I happened to be living down there, and wow, that was awesome. That was an experience. I was thankful for that. But this is Super Bowl ads in the second screen.
Yeah.
This is a great infographic. Let's make sure we give credit. I found it on Pinterest, but it was brought to you by Star, who I'm not familiar with, but it was a good infographic.
And very relevant information, so nice job.
And main point of this is here, that there's a failure rate a lot of times in Super Bowl ads in actually converting to sales. And you spend... $3 million, I don't know what the rate is this year, but multiple millions of dollars for your 30-second spot. You want to get some ROIs on that. And so this is saying, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, what it's telling us here, this fail rate, which really, kind of shocked me. There's an 80% failure rate of Super Bowl ads. They don't compel consumers to make a purchase decision. 80% of them. Yeah. And a lot of them are entertaining, but I guess that's right. You think back and well, I didn't really think about going out and buying a Pepsi after I watched that ad. It was just kind of funny.
Right.
But yeah, this is all about the second screen, using your mobile device while you're watching the game, and linking up those two screens together using hashtags or using campaigns or calls to action to go check out their Twitter feed, all kinds of stuff. Looks like, all right, let me take a look here. 39% of people use their smartphones or tablets at least once a day while watching TV. 62% say they do it multiple times a week, and 84% say they do it at least once a month. That right there is a captive audience who's on their mobile device while they're watching television. And everybody's going to be watching the Super Bowl.
And during the Super Bowl, that's the next thing, more specifically. Yeah. Last year's Super Bowl saw a 300% increase in social media, and 88% of which was on a mobile device. That means we're mobile, we're social media, and what happens at 6:30 at kickoff when Peyton Manning rents for his second Super Bowl ring, and we're go Peyton. We certainly realize that people are on their phones, they're interacting, they're using Twitter, they're using Facebook. This talks about the Budweiser got over 1 million likes. Millions of likes. Spot stole the show with the Clydesdales last year, and they got millions of new likes on their page because of that. And they were driving a call to action. That is invaluable. That was worth whatever they paid in the production and buying the spot. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting too. Actually, this 300% increase on social media activity and 88% that was on a mobile device, that seems low to me. Yeah. I think it'd be 300% increase on social media this year and 250% on a mobile device. I don't think too many people are going to be sitting there on their laptops or on computers during the Super Bowl. I think that number's going to be even higher after this year. So, like you said, it's invaluable that Budweiser got all those likes, and it was real simple for someone probably to follow a link or follow the hashtag or whatever they put up there, drove them a call to action to their social media platform. That's huge. I mean, that's just enormous. What's the last stat here? 1.6 times greater engagement rate
than clips without some sort of a call to action on social media.
Yeah.
That's,
So
I mean, you can't
if
put a measure.
we don't expect a lot of small business owners to can afford a Super Bowl ad, but certainly no matter what you do, your CTA can certainly be driven through
Sure.
social media, and you need to start thinking about that,
Mm-hmm.
and it increases your capability to see success. And so
Totally.
that's what I take away from this.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's it. How can we be interacting with you, Dustin?
Yeah,
this
you
week?
can interact with me anytime you want to at Dustin Hickle on Twitter. You can also follow me at Paper Media. Let's circle up on Google Plus, Dustin Hickle. I'd love to help you out there too.
And you can find me on Pinterest. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook if you dare try. But I don't follow that all often. But make sure you're Twitter, NK Manahan, and follow Salcha.
Yeah.
Twitter.com at Salcha. We're on Instagram. We're on Pinterest. We're on all the platforms. We have a Facebook page. We want to interact with you. Tell us what you would like us to talk about, not just on Informe, but all the other platforms of videos that we have going on and the content that's going on at Salcha.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.